Hello, YouTube. Prof Sales coming at you with a live vlog, and I wanted to take some time to update you guys on some stuff that's happened in the last 24 hours. Let me mute this. There we go. And I've got the chat room up, so if you guys want to talk, if anybody's on, it's kind of early in the morning, so I don't expect maybe the crowd to be quite as good as it normally is, which is okay. Yeah, some cool stuff. A little minor glitch. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all pretty good, but just a couple things have changed in the last 24 hours that I will share. But I'll also share my results as I have been doing with the Gene Challenge, and let you know how that's going. So just kind of a quick update on everything that's been going on the last little bit. So first off, you'll notice the title of this is canceled, or part of the title is a canceled sale. So I sold a pair of jeans yesterday, and this morning when I got up, it was kind of, I think I sold it late in the day, like last night. So when I got up to ship them, I couldn't find them. And I came back downstairs and started looking through my inventory listing and so on to figure out what happened. Well, I noticed when I looked at the listing itself on eBay that the jeans I had sold had a different set of pictures than what was listed in the title. So the title was American Eagle, and the jeans were listed, and the jeans that were actually photographed were AG, Adriana Goldschmied. So I started looking a little closer, and I don't really know exactly what happened, but I sold the Goldschmieds as well, the AGs. I'd sold both pair at some point. So basically what happened is this pair got relisted as, or the photos got thrown onto it somehow, which is interesting because the person who bought it didn't even notice that the photos were not of American Eagle jeans. This has happened one other time, and I want to think that it's just me making mistakes, but it's kind of a weird mistake to make the way I do my listing process. I'd be very surprised if I made it this way. Oh, side note, if you can hear me okay in the chat, if somebody can let me know. Looks like you can. I'm going to say hello to everyone. I'm going to make sure my sound's okay. You know, you guys know how I am with my sound. So anyway, I listed this pair of jeans, and the wrong pictures were with it. I don't really know how this happened. I feel like there's a glitch there because this has happened a couple other times, and it doesn't make any sense when it happens. If there's no rhyme or reason to it. So I had to tell the customer, I said, look, I'm really sorry. You know, there's a glitch, I think, somehow that occasionally the wrong set of photos gets relisted with the wrong description. And apparently that's what happened here. And I'm going to need to cancel the sale. So, you know, I had to tell the buyer I'm going to cancel the sale, and it sucks, but I can't send them a pair of jeans that I don't have. Spikey says it's glitches, tons of glitches. Yeah, man, there's just been some weird stuff that's happened that just there's no, I mean, obviously you can make mistakes, and I make mistakes, and I have made mistakes and put things in the wrong place and so on. And that's why I kind of have these redundant backups in my inventory system so I can find things when I screw it up, because I do screw it up sometimes. But there's been a couple, there's just no explanation for it that makes sense. There's no way I could have done some of the things that happened. So, you know, and there's no way to know that these glitches are out there until you sell the item and you need to go find and put your hands on it. I mean, what are you going to do? Go through your items every day and try to make sure they're all correctly listed? Well, that's great if you got 10 things on eBay, but if you got hundreds, it's not possible. So I'm gonna have to cancel the sale, which sucks. Hopefully the buyer will not be upset. I was very apologetic in my message to him, which is always my standard operating procedure in that situation. And I'm going to cancel the sale, and of course I won't get the I'll refund them their money, all that good stuff. But glitches happen, guys. It happens to big billion-dollar retailers. It's going to happen to us as resellers on eBay and Amazon. And you just handle it the best you can and be apologetic and let your customer know that you're sorry and refund and move on. So anyway, that was the first thing this morning that I was dealing with. But as I was looking down at my eBay, the seller's screen and so on, I noticed that my listing cap looked strange. And when I looked at it a little closer, and they usually do this, and then you get an email later, my listing cap has been doubled. I'm now able to list 4,900 items on eBay. And I don't remember the dollar amount. I want to say it's like 80,000 or something like that in listed amount. Whew. I mean, guys, 4,900 listings on eBay. I can't even imagine that many listings. I mean, that is just crazy. It threw me for a loop. So, my plan is still, I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. My plan, of course, is to continue with the Gene part to get to 2,500 listings. I don't think it's conceivable that I could find enough supply to get 4,900 or anywhere near that. The only way that would happen is if I'm literally going out to many different metro areas all over the Southeast and just killing it at the Goodwills and hitting them, probably staying overnight in cases. And, I could do that. I just don't know that I want to do that. Spiky says, how do you find your cap? I've never seen it. If you go into your Seller Central, if you go into your eBay account, and I don't know if you have the it's not one to come up. It's kind of slow sometimes when I'm on a live feed. But when you go into your Seller Hub, you have all these different platelets and so on you can look at. And basically, if you just scroll down, it should be one of the blocks. It's usually on mine. It's kind of near the bottom, and it'll say monthly limits. It'll say how many items you can list. So, like right now, I can list 4,124 more items. Woo! So, look on your eBay Seller Hub and you should see that. Hopefully that description made sense. Hey, Mark, how are you? We were just talking about seller limits on eBay. I just got raised to 4,900 items, which is nuts. Hey, Karen. Hey, how are you? So, it's a good problem to have to get raised your seller limits like that. But it's like, now what? And, I'm kind of mulling it over my head. Like, how do I maximize my listings up to 4,900? I mean, granted, that's like a small store, a small physical retail store, would have 5,000 items in it potentially. So, a little space in a little strip mall or so on might have that many items out there on their sales floor. So it's a challenge. I'm thinking about all kinds of things, and maybe jeans would be interesting. If 2,500 jeans are good, how good are 5,000? But again, getting supply and the logistics of doing that, I would absolutely have to hire people. There's just no way I could do that with myself and my family. There's just no way we could do it. It's just way too many, and just the logistics of that would, it would be daunting, but it would be a cool experiment. That's for sure. So I'm dealing with, there's two problems you have in business. Being a failure is a problem, and being a success is a problem. They both have their own set of problems. And I guess I'm successful in the sense that my limits got raised. And just to give you guys an idea, when I started on this account, I started selling on this account in March of last year on this particular account, 2015. And I believe my listing cap at that time was 60 items. So now it's July of 2016, just over a year later, and a year and a few months, and my listing cap is 4,900. So I guess the moral of the story is, do the right things, treat your customers right, ship when you're going to ship, send them what you said you're going to send them, take good pictures, write good descriptions, and eBay is going to support you. They're going to support you and give you the ability to maximize your store. So anyway, so 4,900 listings. So if anybody's got any ideas about replenishment items, items you can get in bulk, I've got one idea. I don't want to share it with you guys yet because I've just started doing the research on it today, and I want to make sure that it makes sense on one particular idea I have. But let me mull that over a little bit more before I throw that out there in the universe. Jeans update. So I guess we need to do the jeans update. So let me see if I got this up. So let me share my screen with you guys, and I'll show you where we're at. I added a new graph as well, which I think will be kind of cool. All right, and we go to this. All right. Okay, so yesterday was 7/26, which is this day right here. And you can see that I got 17 listed yesterday, which was pretty good. That's the most I've done in the last week. It was a good day of listing. I'm definitely going to try to hit a big number today too. And I need to start thinking about replenishment. I only have, maybe 20 left that need to be photographed. Karin's done a great job getting those photographed really quickly. I sold 6 yesterday. It would have been 7 except for the one I've got a refund, which stinks. But that ties my best days since I started. The gross was actually a little higher, 135, mainly because I sold a pair for 28 bucks with free shipping. Cost of goods, 32, shipping 35, estimated net right at $50. That net is obviously before taxes, but after the cost of goods and selling expenses. And a nice day of net per jean of 833, so getting closer to that $10 mark. And a 1% sell-through, which is awesome. That's the second day now that I've hit my goal of 1% sell-through. Sell to list, 35, mainly because I listed a lot more yesterday than I have been listing. And my total listings is 556. So we've gone from 515 guys to 556. So starting to see an increase, which should push some of these sell numbers up too. Here's some graphs for you. Listings up, you can see a nice curve here starting to accelerate. 556, haven't bought any more, so that hasn't changed. Sold 36144,136. Listed 1,000, and then 16, a 17. Just got to avoid these 2 days. That's no bueno. But moving in the right direction overall. And then sell through. So I include this graph now. It shows the sell through percentage, which is over here. And it might be a little hard to read. This is 1.4, 1.2, 1, so on. And, what I'm at. So we'll kind of get to see this graphically with a curve or with a line. All right, so let me go. So hopefully that all made sense. Are we back live with me? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Sometimes this thing's a little quirky to figure out. But yeah, so, doing well. Six sold yesterday. I have no issue with that. That's a good number. I was hoping it would have been 7, but since I had to cancel the one, I can really only count 6, obviously. And as you guys know, yesterday, I'm still continuing to list items basically with a $5.99 shipping charge on them. We're going to do an experiment with that, see how that works. I've only listed just the ones yesterday, so we really don't know anything yet if that's how that's gonna do in terms of sell-through and all that good stuff. But I am open to suggestions about my new listing cap totals. you know, I would like to list items that I can buy obviously in bulk and have multiple quantities, and that of course are, easy to store. I don't really know. I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could store 4,900 pair of jeans here. I mean, it's possible, but I don't want to take over all the living space in the house just for business. That doesn't make sense. I really have to think about another solution offsite, which then creates some other logistical challenges and hurdles that have to be overcome. But, I definitely could list, I definitely could utilize my garage more. And if I had replenishment type items that were smaller or easier to store, and easy to ship, easy to pack, easy to list, maybe less photos, even just the logistics of selling. I mean, theoretically, I would be selling, let's say it was all jeans, 4,900 items that I can now list. Say they were all jeans. I would be selling maybe as many as 350 pair a week. I mean, that's crazy. I don't even know. Man, I just can't even imagine doing that. That would be, we would need to be taking somewhere in the neighborhood of over 2,000 photos a week just for that. I'll just, I mean, man, I'm telling you, the logistics of that, just where to store them, the photographs, the time to list. I mean, I would absolutely have to hire people. I mean, there's just no way around it, which I am in the process of getting a bookkeeper / accountant. So we'll see how that goes for my new corp. And anyway, Greener Pasture says the storage space for 4,900 jeans would probably be just temporary if listed quickly. Yeah, I mean, Greener, but the problem is supply. Yeah, I mean, I could throw them all up there at like, $15 or something, and probably sell through them really fast, but I got to get more of them. I mean, I'm telling you guys, like the logistics of that, I figured, if you watched my other video, you saw that just to process and sell what I think I'll sell with 2,500 is a 74-hour-a-week endeavor. So now you're talking about doubling that. That's almost 150 hours a week of manpower. You're talking 4 people at that point to do it. I mean, realistically, because, and it would take even more than that, because I would have to drive further out. I would have to go to some of the cities that are a little bit further away from me where I can, I could go to Atlanta for say 2 or 3 days and just clean out the stores there. But, that's a half a day of driving. It's a half a day back. It's 3 days there. You're talking 4 days. So it would just be, I don't know, guys, like 4,900 pair of jeans. I can't see it. I want to see it, but I don't see how I would do it. I really don't. Like logistically, it just would be such a challenge. And, anyway, it would be amazing. It would be great money. It would be, but it would not be life-changing money, but it would be, a good income. So, let's see. Leisure Picker says you can do it. It's only 4,900. I know, right? It's not like I said 5,000. Cheryl says dress shirts sell well, and I can get 20 per banker's box. Yeah, you're right, Cheryl Ann. But the problem with dress shirts is you have to steam / iron / prep them. You've got to put listings you got to put measurements in the listing. And I'm not as adept at dress shirts. It would definitely be a learning curve. I definitely could get enough of those probably locally between those and jeans. I could probably do that. And dress shirts can be hung and stored that way, or they can be banker's boxes, as you're saying. I mean, it could be different ways. but they could also be hung on racks, and you can hang a lot on a rack. You can hang 100 dress shirts on a decent sized rack, close to it. But I don't have the passion for it either. And just the prep time, maybe you have a different take on that, Cheryl, but just the prep time for dress shirts to me seems extensive. And, also photoing shirts is a little different too, than jeans for sure, because usually you're going to do a mannequin shot, which changes your lighting setup. The way you have your light on that mannequin needs to change. I would have to learn all that too. I mean, it would just be, that would be a Herculean task to find enough dress shirts and jeans to do this, and get them all listed and so on. And guys, I've told you guys this before, and I really believe this. I'm sitting here with listings that I don't, with open spaces. That's costing me money. You wouldn't go open up a retail store. Let's say you opened up a retail store in a little district, and you had a 2,000 square foot store. You wouldn't only put items in 1,000 square feet of it, because you would want to fill out the whole store and maximize your space, because you're losing potential profit when you do that. Plus, it looks empty. It looks bad. Now, people don't see my store as empty because they don't necessarily know how many listings I have, but I know it's there, and I'm like, man, I'm taking money off the table when I don't have these items listed, whatever they are. So, I've already reached out to someone about this issue and waiting to hear back, but it's, like I said earlier, success brings its own set of problems. And I'm like, I'm happy, but I'm also bewildered and wondering how this is going to work. So, Greener says, I would still give the 4,900 pair of jeans a whirl. Maybe you can rent space from a neighbor or a friend nearby. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about, my little shelving units are 32 inches long and, like 18 inches deep. And you can get, and I have a bigger one upstairs, just 24 inches deep, and you can kind of get 2 rows on it, although I don't like doing it, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to think about how many of those would fit in a space. And, every single one of them is 30 inches. So, that's 10 and 300 inches. It's 20 and 600 inches. And 20 and 600 inches would be what, 15 feet? No, 30 feet. I don't know. I mean, it would take a good sized building. Just to even store like the space for them, even if I go higher with those, and I could. I actually don't like them down on the bottom shelf anyway, because it's just harder to reach them. But yeah, I mean, obviously I could do it. I could build shelves into the walls potentially, depending on the space. I have access to a warehouse, but I have concerns about bugs and the humidity and temperature conditions and so on, the environmental conditions. I'm not sure I want to put clothing in that space yet. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Don't get me wrong. If you guys have suggestions, you can email me. You can leave them here in the comments. Whatever you want to do. It's a cool problem, but it's a problem. Yeah, take it one step at a time. Focus your initial goal. You get there, worry about the next. Yeah, Skinner. I mean, that's what I got to do, right? You don't get to 4,900 pair of jeans instantly. You get, you list one more, and then you list one more, and you list one more. Just go for it. Sometimes you can overanalyze things. You can get there. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, but I don't want to, I mean, you're exactly right. And I'm definitely an analytical type of guy, and I can, they call it what, paralysis by analysis. But yeah, at the same time, I want to at least have some overall strategy for how I want to do this and what this is going to look like. Obviously I got to get to, 1,000 listings and 1,500 listings and 2,000. And, and so on and so on before I can even think about 4,900. But it's exciting because that's the same amount of listings as they start you with in Amazon. So I basically have, a 10,000 unit warehouse or listing capacity at my disposal, which is pretty cool, right? And it's only going to help this situation. And eBay doesn't care if you don't use the listings or not. They'd like you to, but ultimately, it's going to take a little bit of time to go from where I'm at to 4,900, and that is my goal, by the way. I hate those listings being open. It's driving me crazy. But they've ramped me up so much over the past 6-8 months that I just haven't been able to keep up with it. I haven't put the time and energy into it that it requires to do that. So you seem like a perfectionist and you want to have the something. No, I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I definitely like to think things through before I do it. Do you only sell high-end jeans? Nope. More bread and butter than anything else. I could lower my standard of jean, so to speak. The problem with that is that you need man hours to list jeans. So if all of a sudden you start selling jeans for, say, $15, all right, a lower price point, and you're spending $5 to get them, and you've got some fees, and you might only make, after all that, $5 or $6, but I don't have enough hours to list hundreds and hundreds of more jeans, whether they're $15 jeans or $25 jeans, it doesn't matter. I just don't have the manpower to do it at this point. So if you bring in the manpower, well, that reduces your profit on every single pair, obviously, because it's costing you something now to list those jeans, or it's costing you something to photograph those jeans, and so on. So you got to start accepting lower profit margins on your items, which I'm willing to do if I can, blow this up. But my real problem, guys, is not even getting them listed and photographed. I could hire people to do that ultimately. My real issue is just supply. It's just supply, and I'm going to kind of maybe sit down and think about a little bit of an estimate, but I think there's probably, within a 2-hour drive of me, I could probably find 200, 250, maybe even 300 pair of jeans a week if I really, bust my tail. But it's going to be expensive. It's going to be time consuming. It's going to be, some hotel stays sometimes. I mean, it's driving and wear and tear on the car. I mean, you've got to factor all that in. It's not just, I'm just going to go buy a bunch of stuff and, you can do that, and then you got to think about the storage of it and so on. I don't know. It's a cool problem. You have to make the money where you can. These markets can be saturated very quickly. Take it from an engineer. Well said. Greener pastures. The perfect layout plan, D-scanner. Yeah, not really. It doesn't have to be perfect. There is no perfect. But there needs to be some sort of plan, in my opinion. Even getting up to this 2,500 is going to require a lot of finagling and maneuvering around here in the house. Switching bedrooms is something that's going to have to happen. I mean, there's just nowhere else to put them. It is, and that's fine. That's what I've decided to do, and it's going to be fun. You guys get to come along for the ride and see where we get, and that's pretty exciting. But 4,900 is, it's a whole nother. One of the reasons that businesses fail. The number one reason, I don't know if it still is, it's not because businesses don't have sales. The number one reason that businesses fail, at least it used to be, is they don't start out with enough capital. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have the money to run their business, but they hit like a wall where they can no longer make progress. And if their business plan was predicated on making certain steps, to get to a position of profitability where it made sense to keep doing it, they get blocked. They get stymied. And it's because, it's a lack of capital. This is kind of like that. Like you have a period, Ronnie and I were talking about this the other night, to go in and buy 1,000 pair of jeans a week, for instance, or not 1,000 pair, to buy 200 pair a week just to do this current challenge, that's $1,000 a week. It is. And it's $1,000 a week that you need in capital. So you've got a little lag time between when you sell and PayPal and and you can send money yourself, and then you go out and you put that in your bank account and you use it. And so you got to think about all these things, like how do you keep, that's what happened to me on Amazon. I started buying higher dollar items, but I keep running out of capital. Because as I said yesterday, when you're buying $90 items, whoo, I mean, you can go through some capital in a hurry, right, gang? I mean, you buy 10 items or 11 items, you've spent $1,000. I mean, it doesn't take any time at all. So I got to think about that a little bit too, and just what I'm going to do in general. And it may be a combination to let you know. It might not be just jeans, just for all the reasons I laid out. Skinner says, what was the issue? Why did you need to refund? There's some sort of glitch, D-Skinner, that eBay has occasionally, and it listed a pair of jeans I had with a completely different wrong set of pictures. And the person thought they were buying, I guess, whatever the listing title was. And and there's no way, and I'd already sold the jeans that the pictures were from. That's the funny thing. So I'd already sent that person the right pair of jeans. And somehow these pictures got back on that pair of jeans, different pair of jeans all over again. And I don't have that pair of jeans either. They're nowhere to be found. So there's some sort of weird glitch, I think, there. I explained to them and told them I was going to have to refund them. Prep your storage area first before you take on the endeavor. Scurrying for space afterwards a pain. Yep, you want to be set up. You want to be able to grow smart. Greener, you're exactly right. Leisure Picker says, I have 3,000 listings by myself. I don't really feel like I work that hard. My brother has over 6,000. He works full-time job. Believe me, he can do it. Well, that's cool, Leisure, but let me ask you, what are you listing? And not to like divulge your whole business strategy, but what are you, how time consuming is it to get up the number of listings you sell each week? What's your sell through look like? I guess would be my question. I mean, I don't know. And it does, but it takes a little while to get there. I mean, if you took 3,000 sets of pictures, that takes a while. So I'm just curious. I mean, anyway, I had 3 things to relist and all 3 had good to cancel on them. Yeah, Cheryl, there's just weird things that happen there. Thanks for sharing. You inspire me. That's cool, Future Apple. Good. Go out there and kill it. It ain't about me. It's about you. Belts and wallets, things that go hand in hand with jeans. Yep, that's a great possibility. Sports items. It took me 5 years to get here. Okay, that makes sense. And that's cool. Like you've got it down. Like I don't have the experience yet with this huge listing total or this huge amount of inventory on eBay. So I'm still kind of learning that part of it, how to finagle space and listing and all this good stuff. And, it'll get there. But again, guys, leave me comments down below what you think what else maybe I should move into with this 4,900 item extravaganza. Please hit the like button too, if you wouldn't mind. We got 18 watching and 7 likes, which is good. Are you full-time? Yes, I am, but it's just me. I understand, just trying to help you not get overwhelmed. Yeah, exactly. I don't feel overwhelmed, to be perfectly honest, guys. I don't. What I feel is, I guess I feel perplexed because I don't know which direction to go yet. And I'm one of these guys who likes to kind of at least see the path, even though I don't know where all the path is going to take me. So anyway, ties, small, easy to store, and some good quality ones at States and thrifts. Yes, I have sold ties in the past, Cheryl Ann. My only issue with ties is they tend to be kind of long tail items. They do store quickly and easily, and you can store 40 of them in a shoebox. Yes, and they are plentiful, but they're easy to ship. They're not expensive. They're very cheap to ship, honestly. But I don't know. They don't excite me. Is that bad? They don't. I've sold them. I think I may even have a couple still listed. Yeah, Mr. Say says, I don't worry about the amount of listings I have. I just buy as best as I can and list as much as I can unless I hire someone. That's all I need to think about. Well, sure. But obviously, I have some income goals. I have some life goals that I want this business to help me achieve, Mr. Sadie. And, you know, it can do it. I know it can do it. I know I can do it. But at the same time, I just don't want to, you know, I don't want to limit myself. I want to see how much I can grow it, honestly. That to me is the hook. The hook is not really the money. You know, I'm going to do a video on this, but you know, you have these goals where you say, I want to get to here, and then you're there. So now there becomes here. Well, then there's here, you know, and it keeps going up, you know, or wherever it's going. It's arbitrary. You know, success is arbitrary because it means something different to everyone. And once you achieve that success, well, then what? Where do you go from there? I don't want to limit myself and say, well, I can only do this amount of sales volume, or I can only make this much money, or only have this many items listed. I'm dreaming big. I'm dreaming big, man. You know, 4,900 items, I'm going to find a way to make it happen. And I don't see any particular challenge that can't be overcome to doing it. I just need to do it a little differently than I have been. So, you know, sorry to kind of get like on a Tony Robbins spiel there for a moment, but there is like a power within everyone, and there's a power within me, just like there is you. And you got to just unleash it and see where it takes you, and see how far you can go. And, you know, don't limit yourself. I'm a big believer in that. And this is a great opportunity to do that now, to be able to say, all right, you've just been handed this great opportunity. Go do it. You know, do it. Make it happen. All right, let's do it. But I'm not opposed to suggestions. So if you guys have suggestions, you've given me some good ones. I'm definitely going to think about them. Cash excites Cheryl Ann. Cool. It excites me too. But, you know, cash buys you time, kind of. You know, because if you have enough, then you don't have to spend your time making more. And I don't want to trade time for money, but so much. I want to use money to buy time. And, you know, money does that. It buys you time. Like when you have it, you can spend the time on things that aren't related to earning more of it. So therefore you can enjoy life. So that's my theory on cash. And I think a lot of business people would have a similar theory. A smart store is much better than a volume store. Smart meaning buy smart and profit margin. Sure. Absolutely. I understand. And I agree, a leisure picker. Sadie says, that's cool. We all have a different reason and so on for what and why we do this. Yep, you're exactly right. And nobody's is more right than another person's or more wrong. I mean, if it makes you happy and it fulfills you and you want to list 10 items a month and have a store with 13 items in it, do it. Do it. Just do it. Just find what makes you happy, what turns you on, and go for that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. No one, you know, not a dream, you can do it. Thank you for that. Do you have a time frame for your goal? I'm not sure I have a goal, D Skinner. If you mean the 2,500 jeans, initially I thought it might take a year. Quite honestly, it might take a year, guys, to get to it. But it's kind of going to depend on a few things. If I start seeing the profits come in quicker, which I think they will in the fall, I may do some things to expedite that process. So I may spend some money to buy time, basically. In other words, hire someone. So when you have the money, you can take the time off, decide when you need to breathe away from boss because you are a boss. Yep, totally agree, Cheryl Ann. Have you ever thought about doing a Google Hangout? What do you mean by that, MJG? We're kind of doing a Google Hangout now. YouTube goes over to Google Hangouts when you do a live event like this, actually. But starting a Google Hangout kind of sucks because it doesn't allow, if I do this and I start in Google and then come back to YouTube, it doesn't allow me to have a chat box. I don't know why. Apparently there's some glitch there in the system, which is interesting because Google owns YouTube. but I have to start the live event in YouTube, and then that opens up a Google Hangout, and then you guys can come in. But you're saying, I think maybe you're saying, MJ, maybe have people come into a Hangout with me and just kind of brainstorm. Is that, I don't know if that's accurate, what you're saying there. Yeah, so Ronnie just sent me, Ronnie, who was on the show Monday night, just sent me a message because I had reached out to him about this. And this is what his message said. Well, jeans for now, got to see if it's worth doing. I think once you double your listings, you will have a good idea if it will work or not. So his point is test, and that's a great lesson. Test and evaluate, test and evaluate. That makes sense. So I will test with jeans and, push up to 1,100 listings or so and see where that takes me, right? I gained 40, almost 40, 45 listings this week. And I didn't really list that much, honestly. So I did that without breaking a sweat. So theoretically, I think I can gain 100 listings a week with